TIFU by setting off an alarm with smells from my body. Today I fucked up while sleeping in my camper van. I had eaten a burrito or two and was dropping some absolute bombs before falling asleep. I only have about 8 hours between shifts, so getting as much sleep as I can in there is pretty important. Around 1 a.m. I was woken by the CO propane monitor beeping loudly, which is something that is scary as hell. If you've ever read about CO poisoning, well, it had a propane indicator which for the life of me I couldn't figure out. I had taken the propane system out last week. I was crouched and had silenced the alarm when my body expelled another big wave of leftover burrito fume, and as it hit the monitor it started screaming for me to please God stop with the torture. Realizing my problem, I cracked the windows and turned the fan on, only to have it go 2 or 3 more times across the night, waking me and ruining my sleep for the night. I had a horrible smelly zombie day today, and it was all due to my ass. TLDR. I farted all night, which set off the propane alarm and kept me from sleeping. When I was younger, my mother made pulled pork one night and it just didn't react with my gut well. Probably ate too much because it was so delicious. I slept with my door closed and was woken up early to go out skiing. When she came to wake me up, she was physically unable to, due to me hotboxing my room with the nastiest barbecue pulled pork farts ever. I got an extra 30 minutes of sleep because she couldn't bear the smell to even attempt to wake me up. It's now known as the pulled pork incident. I lived in a flat above a sweet little old lady year before last. After a bad curry night, she called up on the intercom panicked because she thought there was a gas leak. I had to fetch her pills and some water, sit her on the communal stairs and help her get the glass to her mouth. She was shaking so bad, literally had a panic attack, and then thought she was suffocating, which did not help matters at all. Worst of it was, she kept thanking me for the help and praising me to the skies for my kindness. And I nearly killed her with my stinky butt. Wedding night. We had shrimp at the wedding reception that didn't sit well with either of us. Spent the entire night with the covers pulled tight across our chests, arms down, trying to keep the noxious fumes under the covers. We were laughing so hard it just kept making things worse and worse. About 1 a.m. we got a knock on the door. A manager, who knew it was our wedding night, had apparently gotten a few noise complaints and was coming to ask us to quiet down. New hubby answered the door and he swears that he could see the cloud of fumes roll out and hit the guy in the face. Manager gags and tries to choke out, "Keep it down," or something, then leaves. 30 minutes later another knock, but no one there. Open the door and sitting on the floor is a bottle of Pepto and some Gas X. I experienced this once with my dog in an RV. His toxic ass kept setting off our sensor. I was working out on the road somewhere in western PA. We hit a bar for dinner after work and they had hard-boiled eggs in a hot sauce brine sitting on the bar, the same way you see red beet eggs or pickled eggs. They tasted amazing. However, the smell woke me up from a dead sleep. I've never before been woken up by my own smelly farts. Brutal. When I used to work in the oil industry in northern Alberta, I was on a site where we had to wear H2S monitors on our person while working. The camp food was so rotten on all of our insides that you could hear the alarm randomly go off throughout the day due to the brutal ass gas that would be trapped in our coveralls and seep out our neckline. We used to go camping a lot as kids and my dad disappeared. We figured he went to the bathroom. We saw 2 kids, probably 13 or 14 years old, running out of the bathhouse holding their noses in, gagging. That was all the confirmation we needed that he was in there. I feel you, man. I just bought an air purifier to help with my allergies. It automatically detects any impurities and scales its fan speed between 1 and 12 appropriately. Usually it sits at 3 to 5. But every goddamn time I walk past it, it ramps up to 12. I think it want to fight me. When I was a kid, we had ate some fast food after coming home from a friend's house. When I woke up, I went to go make some cereal, and when I was eating it, I let out a fart that was literally about a solid minute or two long. Everyone in the house just stared at me. Halfway through, the smell finally started settling and hit everyone's nose at the same time. My whole family booked it to the back patio. I tried to follow because I didn't want to smell this carcass in my ass. But my brother held the door shut because it may still be attached, so I ran out the front door and threw up. You've discovered that various inexpensive gas monitors can't really differentiate between many different gases and can be triggered by other gases. Farted silently during a premiere of Disney's Aladdin, and it was so bad the mother behind me in the theater thought it was her son. After half an hour or so, she lost her temper and dragged him to the toilets for a poo. As I continued to fart up the theater for the rest of the movie, I swear I could feel her eyes burning into the back of my head. I had this pizza once from Sainsbury's. One of the create-your-own ones from the counter. Spicy beef, jalapenos, onion, sausage, on a barbecue base. Woofed all 14 inches of it to myself, along with a pair of big boy Cobra beers. I was awoken in the middle of the night by my girlfriend at the time, who was petrified. She kept asking me to get up and check for a body. In my barely functional state, I got up and put the light on. Confused, I asked her what she meant. She said she could smell a dead body. Clearly accustomed to my own flavor, it took me a good 15 seconds to realize it was my pizza farts that she was referring to. To check, I wafted the duvet, and she retched, nearly bringing back her own dinner.
We're not together anymore.
I don't know whether to give my free award to the post or to one of the comments. When I was a kid, my family and I would travel roughly 2.5 hours to get to my mother's parents' house. Whenever we went there, she'd make all of our favorite, delicious, fattening foods. Within 10 minutes of leaving every time, my mom would deal out these truly heinous farts. They were always silent, but we always knew when she was doing it because after a few minutes we would all start rolling down the manual windows of our van and she'd just be in hysterics. Good times. This whole post is killing me with people sharing fart anecdotes. I was staying at the Hosteling International in NYC one time. My wife and I went out to eat at some place one evening and I had a dish that was at least half garlic. Unfortunately, whenever I eat garlic, it absolutely turns my insides upside down. But it just sounded so good, and hey, when in Rome, right? Afterwards, my wife and I returned to the room in case I got an attack of the shits. Commence the garlic death farts. Smells like 50% garlic, 50% overused porta potty on a hot day at a music festival. After about an hour, my poor wife says she is literally getting dizzy from the smell. So I go downstairs to see if the front desk has a little fan we can borrow since the windows don't open. I get back onto our floor, and I shit you not, I could smell my garlic evil as soon as I got off the elevator. Our room was at least 50 to 100 feet and around a corner from there. The closer I got to the room, the worse it got. A door or two down, it literally smelled like someone was shitting into a garlic bonfire in our room. My wife doesn't let me eat garlic anymore. Back in the 90s, my two closest friends and I, and everyone else, were very into playing Diablo 2. One of our friends had access to his professor father's office and the office next door. One weekend we go over at night to play and brought with us 2 cases of Dr. Pepper. Our one friend gets set up in his dad's office and my buddy and I in the other. Now it's nighttime and we technically aren't supposed to be there, so the doors are closed. We played for like 4 hours. At the end of this time our buddy came in to wait and make sure we cleaned up the machines and the area before leaving. He opens the door, exclaims, "Ah!" and, waving infant of his face as if beset by an angry swarm of gnats, backs out and closes the door. My buddy and I look at each other confused. Then he starts yelling at us because of the funk. Not from our asses, but we both had been Dr. Pepper belching into this tiny office for 4 hours. TLDR hotboxed a small office for 4 hours with Dr. Pepper belches. Offended close friends' nostrils. When I was in high school, my family drove from Michigan to Florida for vacation. We took I-75 all the way down. But when the time came to go back home, my dad decided that he wanted to take the back roads. While driving through Georgia, we kept seeing signs advertising boiled peanuts. At first we were like, WTF is that? But as time passed we got curious and eventually we stopped at a roadside stand and my parents bought a large cup of boiled peanuts for all of us to share. Here's the thing, though. Nobody in my family liked the boiled peanuts except for me. The more I ate, the more I loved them. Because nobody else wanted them, I got the honor of eating the entire cup. I spent all day eating boiled peanuts while my dad drove. As night fell, the boiled peanuts started to hit my colon and I started hitting my family with the most glorious, smelly farts. It was also right around that time that we got lost now. My dad is the kind of person who gets very frustrated and irritable when he is lost. And we were in the middle of nowhere without a streetlight or a road sign in sight. As we drove and drove, looking for someplace we could spend the night, my farts got worse and worse and my dad got madder and madder. He rolled down the window for some fresh air and we were immediately hit with the stench of fresh skunk. Goddammit you, JESUSGODLEAH. My dad roared. I had to explain through big gales of laughter that one wasn't actually me. Eventually we reached a town and found a hotel with a restaurant next door where we could grab some dinner. My mom and I were laughing hysterically the entire time we were in the restaurant and all the locals were giving us weird looks. I still love boiled peanuts to this day. YSK people die from methane poisoning from eating burritos while sleeping in a camper van. I set off my personal CO monitor constantly by farting. Strangely, EBOW the H2's monitor never goes off.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epic Ericast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.